Let's get into it. Joining me now is psychiatrist and assistant professor of psychiatry at Columbia University Medical Center, Dr. Mina Mirham, and comedian and host of the Never Not Tired podcast, Casey Balsham. Thank you guys for being here today. All right. Half of the country is celebrating Trump's victory, right? So you've got maybe half those people at your dinner table. So let's start with you, Dr. Mina. How can people prepare to converse with family members with opposing political views? What's the best way to approach this? Because we know it's going to happen.
It certainly is. And one of the best things to do first is not to avoid the conversation. About 23% of folks who were surveyed in America Now are saying, you know what, I may skip out on Thanksgiving dinner altogether. And part of that is that sometimes we're not comfortable with conflict. So the first place to be is say, I anticipate some conflict, but there are some strategies I can navigate to be prepared for that conflict and to navigate it in a way that's healthy, not hurtful.
Casey, I know that you've talked about this on your podcast, and you've got some things going on with conversations that you've had about this. How can people cool it down other than continuing to pour wine? Try and get everybody
well, that's
to
number
chill
one.
out.
First,
Right.
number one is get very, very drunk, and then everything you say is just like, I don't remember. I think I saw this really good. I can't take credit for it, but I did see this amazing, another comedian had this great take on it. She said something like, you know, when people tend to bait you and they want to tear down your ideas, and instead of fighting with them, just go, oh, yeah, ugh. And I think that could be a good approach. Just if they say something that you don't agree with, just be like, yeah, blah, yucky. And that's what I'm going to try this year.
You are going to try that. Has that happened to you in the past, though? Because obviously this is not the first Thanksgiving dinner we've all had where we've had this kind of conversation going on.
Right. Well, I have been definitely baited by my in-laws before, who will be coming. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
love
speak
you.
to camera. All right.
Love you. Love you. Can't wait to see you. But they've definitely gotten that, like, where I've seen red, and I'm like, and you know, you can't understand how they see something different than you. And so instead this year, I'm going to try and ruin the holidays the good old-fashioned way, without politics.
Okay, there you go. And Dr. Mina, how can we connect with family members without confrontation? I mean, because there are many people who are going to have never Trumpers at the table and the Trump lovers at the table. And, you know, you want to get into meaningful conversations, but can you avoid it altogether? What do you think?
Well, that's why this is an opportunity, I think, to get a chance to understand your family members. For a lot of folks who are just avoiding this entirely, you miss out on a chance maybe to use this calm approach that I sort of break down for patients who've been getting ready for this whole past week.
You have patients that you talk to about this? Like you guys are like working this out?
Regularly, yeah.
Okay.
Patients are very anxious because, you know, they know this is going to be, holidays, listen, can be tough already, just in general. Folks are getting into family dynamics. I haven't seen this person in a while, and this person doesn't approve of what I think. So then you add to that the heat of politics and where we were just a few weeks ago, then it becomes even more challenging. So what I've been working with folks over the past 2 weeks especially is specific tools. One of them, this CALM acronym, the first one is curiosity. I'll give you 10 years of therapy in 10 seconds here.
Oh, good.
Most folks do exactly what you said, Casey, which is, you know what, someone is talking to me about something I don't like, I'm going to ignore it, or maybe I'll make fun of them, or I'll change the subject. But rather, if we were just to be curious, say, tell me more about that, I want to understand, let me make sure I heard you correctly, walk me through what your point of view is. If we begin by saying, I want to learn and understand and listen to you, it's a very different framing altogether.
Right. And do you practice this? Do you have to practice it yourself?
100%, because I know for my family members, listen, we've got the whole spectrum of opinions. Some folks who are never Trumpers, some folks who are pro-Trump. And for us, we come down to, well, first, how do we actively listen to each other? How do I make sure I understand what you mean? And to validate you, to say, you know what, you care about the country, you care about issues, you care about things that are important. As a character building part, you're a good person. You want good things for the country, right? And for me as a psychiatrist, I have to now take the time to listen. That's what they pay us to do.
Right.
And then see, how do I find common ground?
Okay, Casey, have you ever had to cut off a family member for real?
I've had to we've gone on timeout.
Okay.
Like me and my father.
The kids' table, the Trump table.
Exactly, or just the old and the young table,
right.
Let's call it, because my dad is, you know, at this point, he hates them all. So he's like, they're all dumb, and I have to be like, yes, I understand that, but also these are the issues. And so me and my dad have just kind of, we've shaken hands and said, we're not gonna say the T word, we're not gonna do any of this together. So we've definitely gone on timeout, but family is family, and they're important. You know, I have a daughter, and I would never want to cut off her grandparents just because they voted for Trump.
Right. And it's
like I said, they're good people. They
Exactly.
Yeah.
just have different opinions.
And I like what you said about being curious, because I think that that speaks to what we talked about all through the lead up to the election, of talking, not yelling at people. And, you know, that's really important to do. And I also wanted to bring up alcohol, because people do stress
Do you
drink.
have some?
Maybe in the back. But we've got, I mean, you have people that do overdrink because when they get stressed out are like, okay, this is a bummer, and off we go. And then maybe they do black out. But what is your advice for people who might overdrink while they are having these conversations?
Well, it's no surprise that alcohol sales jump about 156% during holidays, right? Because there is a part biologically of alcohol that can calm us for a moment, but then it becomes problematic. So the advice first is to know yourself, know where your background is. If you've already been in a place where you're over drinking when you're stressed, this is a time to limit this, because becoming disinhibited in this conversation will not help us listen better, will help us react in a worse way.
Right.
So having that sense about self is really key. And then from there saying, what is a healthy way that I can cope with that discomfort? Say, I can feel that discomfort, I can feel that fear, and then reacting in a way that is not just gonna put a Band-Aid on it, but rather finding something that's more sustainable.
And then what if you go, to both of you, if you go down the road and things get heated and you realize in the moment, because we've all been there, right, where we're like, this isn't going well.
Right.
How do we reel it back and apologize and just kind of move on to the next subject? What's your take on that?
I mean, I always, since we usually host at our house, so I think that's when I just go, the dishes need to be done. I truly, but you know, it is unavoidable. And let me tell you, I grew up with an alcoholic mother, so the holidays were where she shined. And you know, you just kind of go, all right, we were saying some things, and tomorrow we're all gonna have a different conversation.
Right. Quick, how to apologize?
Quick, I would say forgiveness can be really powerful. So be able to say, where can I take some ownership of this process and be able to invite someone into it is a really healing opportunity.
All right, one last very important question before we go. Favorite Thanksgiving food on the table? Casey.
Macaroni and cheese.
Ooh, nice.
Apple pie all day.
Oh, apple pie and mac and cheese.
I changed mine. It's apple pie for sure.
Okay, very good. We'll be right back. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you so much.